Today we're going to talk about portable, low-budget, automatic waterers at your homestead. Alright, this is a real quick project that we're going to do. It's a automatic waterer system that we're going to run. We are going to upgrade some of our watering system here, and part of that is getting some float buckets. We just use the old, we have a person in our family that uses the mineral buckets, and so we have access to these, and they're really kind of nice because you can use them until they break and then throw them away. And they've lasted quite a long time because they have a little flexibility to them. And the horses and the cows and the dogs, more of the horses and the cows are pretty rough on them. And we don't have permanent mounted watering systems out in the pasture yet. So we have the rotational grazing that we do, and we use just surface mounted black poly pipe that we drag around and do that. And in the past we've used the clamp-on ones that you get at the feed stores that have the float in the top.
Great for chickens.
They're fine as long as they're shallower for the chickens, but the deeper ones are better for the cows and the horses because they drink more water at one time.
But the chickens aren't hard on them.
Yeah, they're
the
not as hard.
horses
So,
and the steer are hard on them.
Due to our wonderful instruction from one of our, really close mentors on YouTube, Judy. He uses the jobevalves.com or on Amazon, honestly, the Megaflow float valve. And this is nice because you can install it at the bottom of the tank, depending on your configuration, on the side of your tank, and the float just pops it off and turns it on. So literally you just drill a hole into a float bucket that you're using, and you can install it and put it into operation pretty quick. So the idea with what we're doing is we're not permanently mounting anything at the time, and we're probably not going to do a lot of permanent mounted stuff as far as the watering containers go, except for some winter frost-free stuff in the future. But we are using this to move around the pasture and hook up to the poly pipe and to give the water to the animals. So let's get this started here real quick. I think this is a 15-gallon bucket, maybe even 20 gallons. I'm not sure. I think we put at least 3 5-gallon containers in here.
Julian would probably know.
Yeah.
She fills them up every day.
So anyway, all you do with this real quick is you want to get it down kind of low to the ground so the pipe is down lower here out of the way. But I do want enough clearance at the bottom so that it's not in the way. So about right here, we're gonna go off the rib. I don't know if you can see that, but it's only about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. And the idea is to keep the inlet down low on the outside here so that it's not super high. You can also put this in sideways and then just turn the float valve on it. So I might actually, the more I look at it, I might do that here. So we might go as low as we can, put this down here, and I'm just going to use a bit and kind of size it up here. And it's just got a seal here. So this goes, it's got a seal on it.
So the hose is, this is nice because the hose is on the bottom, not hanging over the top now, so it won't flip over, hopefully.
Yeah. So I'd like to see if I can't get this mounted this way. So it just pops off here, and you can rotate your connection on it.
Yeah, if you need to.
Yeah. So we need to have this pointed up and down. So it's got like a finger clearance on the bottom.
Okay.
And the idea is that it's down low. So then you just set the float to where the top is right here. So we'll just
with the string, you adjust the string.
Adjust the string so it can go all the way like a bigger bucket.
Yeah.
I know Judy uses them in like the tire, the big farm tire type things.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna set this kind of temporarily until we can get this in service. So that'll float in there and it'll fill up, and and then we'll have to adjust it just to get the right height on it. But I believe if you have the top of this right here, it's gonna float there. Not a huge depth for us, but it's way more convenient.
But it doesn't, the automatic fill helps us so much because, so that's one of the benefits of summertime, is being able to set up the automatic waters.
Right, so I'm just gonna throw some Tuff Tape on the outside here. And I think that this works under gravity. So just basically gravity PSI, or actual like residential or well pressure PSI.
Because we're gonna experiment with,
both.
we know it works with our well for sure, like with our hydrants and stuff outdoor, but you wanna experiment.
So I'm just using, real quick, I'm just using a barb connection on here with a threaded side here to screw onto it, because we're gonna put 1-inch poly pipe into here. So go ahead, we put.
I think you had mentioned you also wanted to experiment with using the spring system that we just set up, which is awesome and working amazing. And you wanna see if you can gravity feed it the water with the spring water, right?
Right. That's the outside barb connection screwed into it. So the inside, once again, chicken has opinion. The float valve is at the bottom, the fill is right here at the bottom. And so like I said, we're gonna have to play with that and see if this is too close to the bottom or not for us. But I wanted to keep it down there, and then this will float up and shut it off. So a little bit of experiment of how we're gonna set it up, whether we need to raise it up a little bit. We got a few of these buckets that we can play around with, and I think this will work out fine because it'll still fill with water. So, and the idea is that we do a kind of a slow and constant fill as they drink from it versus a dump all at one time.
Okay. Josie, you're a good girl. And currently you're testing this off of our spring catchment system.
Yep, for a gravity flow on it. So I'm not putting clamp on this.
Right, you're just testing it. Because this would be out in the field.
Yeah. Open up the valve. So we're doing a gravity feed setup here. We have the line connected, and we're letting it just flush out here before we hook up the actual system. All right, we can see that the water is working now off of gravity from the buckets down to here. So we did test it at static pressure, so just basically at the actual tank. And it does have to have a little bit of PSI behind it. So it is a low flow, high volume, low pressure capabilities, which is nice. But with a, let's call it a 5 or 6 foot elevation change here, we're able to get enough pressure where we see it filling right here. So it's filling from the bottom port, and we flushed it out so that all this debris came out first without going through the actual system. And you can see if I just pop it off here, you can actually disconnect and connect the twist off detach mechanism here and get at this to do a quick clean off of the screen, and then service it. And then while it's still flowing water, it's not, I haven't shut off the pressure up there, so it's nice because you can still have pressure behind it and go ahead and put it right up to it and twist it on, and it's right back in service and it's still filling up. So we'll do a quick fill on this to see how it works, and then see if the float valve is adjusted to shut it off at the right level here. Alright, so the bucket's been gravity filling here, and we've got the float valve that you can see is starting to want to upright itself. And I believe once this pressure comes, the water level comes up to about right here, it should trip off here. So we'll have to see if our adjustments are correct. Yeah, so we'll probably drop that cord about a
Oh, it's
half
not bad.
inch. No, it's gonna. We'll have to see where it shuts off at here. I think it's gonna start overflowing here. So right here is the shut off.
So we need to shorten it just a tad so it doesn't overflow.
So
You want about an inch clearing on the
we'll
angle?
just pop this off so I can get it easier. So if we dump it,
Just a little bit. That's enough.
and like I said, the nice thing is that you put this on a big volume area. Like we can take this fitting off and put it on a 200-gallon stock tank eventually.
Because it's tall enough.
It's a big enough unit that it can fill up very fast. So
Okay,
it's
cool.
very versatile for us. It's got no corrosive attachments on it, so it should be a longer lasting product. And
there's less, like the animals actually don't have a daily access to the actual float valve.
Right,
Because
so
it's down low
the only
instead of up
spot
high.
that I see that could be problematic is them
here.
stepping right on the edge of it, which we know how they are to, you know.
The only thing we could do is cage it with something. You could
half
protect
line
it with a no, like up against here maybe.
Yeah, and we could half line, like just keep this part of the line hot.
Yeah.
So that they only have access to drink right
one
from
side.
the spot here.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So I think we're.
Right there is where it stops.
Yeah, I might have to just do a little tiny adjustment to it, but that's it. I mean,
What's like the price difference between this versus the, is it really quite a bit more expensive or?
Yeah, this was like, I mean, this was like in the like $48 or $52 range versus the, well, we go through 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah.
Of like the $15 ones.
We
So
do.
when you start adding it up, and then you have the, you know, the problems with service and all that stuff on them. So we just have a low profile so the chickens can't get in here and drown.
Right.
And if we dump this,
Yeah, dump it.
we can just come out and squish it and get
the muck out.
muck out of it. And then we're able to move it from spot to spot. So it's not all in one spot.
Right.
This is it's a Dare farm tank float. You can pretty much get these anywhere.
Yeah, so, yeah.
But it's literally just a float system.
So that's what we're comparing the two together. The animals, the large animals, are very rough
Yeah, they
on
can get
this.
this and bump this and knock it off the edges.
In particular, the steer and the dairy cows were very hard on them.
Yeah.
But the chickens do great. So this works for the chickens.
Yeah, we just get a hose whip and then we have it on a quick connect that goes to our black poly pipe. So we can just gather up the hose, move it around.
Yeah, this goes out in the pasture everywhere that the chickens go, which is really nice.
It's just, you know, it's bootstrap farming, you know, figuring out things without having, you know, $100, you know, hydrants and, you know, $200 stems and all this different stuff here and there.
A little bit of elbow grease.
Yeah, and we're able to be fully portable. We can move them from this location to 400 feet away in a different location.
All the way out there.
And it's just a matter of moving some poly pipe around. So.
And moving a very small bucket.
Yeah.
Versus a huge watering tank.
Yeah. So just, you know, it's something we want to just give you a quick, you know, recap on some different watering options, some different like low budget. You know, you grab a $12 or $15, you know, plastic tank and you know, a couple float valves, and you can hook them up different ways. And if you live in a climate, you know, we've chosen in the last 5 years to bucket carry in the summertime or in the wintertime, and you know, because you have to deal with, you know, freezing waters. We don't have stuff that's, you know, trenched down 48 inches and frost free. Here's the turkey coming for some fresh water.
Hey Todd.